Welcome back to another episode of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's up, dude?
On the sticks, we got TJ.
Hello.
All right, we're back.
We're back indeed.
No interview this time?
Yeah, not this time. We might have one next week, potentially with King.
With King, yeah.
It's not 100% locked in yet. If not, then potentially maybe with Jiren.
Or Arch.
Or Arch Network. So, yeah, we got some potential interview candidates for coming up. But, yeah, today we're going to take this opportunity to just continue on discussing things that are, happening.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically,
Jiren just launched his...
the book.
The book?
Inscribopedia.
Yeah, Inscribopedia. That's right.
Yeah, released a whole new standard. I think it's like the 600K standard. So do you know why it's 600K? Did
Why?
you ever figure it out?
No.
Like, write it out with your finger. Like 600.
600K.
What's that look like?
600K?
Depends how you do your 6. Do a 6 with a straight, like not so curved.
Okay. Oh, book.
That's right. That's why you did it,
Okay.
The book standard, right? So that's pretty cute, dude. That's pretty, it's clever, right?
Yeah,
So
I'll buy it, dude.
You'll buy a book now
Sure.
under the VRC 600K envelope. So what all it does is like presents you a nice readable format essentially for text inscriptions, right? Otherwise, you go into through Ord.io or whatever, you're just doom scrolling through like a book,
Yeah.
which is very not like reader pleasurable.
Sure.
So it's like now there's like an actual like turn page formatting,
Huh.
which is nice. Page Nation, dude, on
Yeah,
chain.
yeah.
It's pretty important.
Yeah,
So,
when you told me it was like it's like 600,000, I was like, what?
yeah, like 600, comma 000.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
like boo.
Yeah.
It's the spooky,
Boo.
spooky protocol, dude. That's
Yeah.
like some ghosty cat shit, dude.
Right.
But no, it's 600K for a reason, But yeah, so that's something that's brewing. So people are asking. I mean, we're on crypto Twitter pretty much, unfortunately, all day, every day.
I used to like Twitter. Now I don't.
Well, regardless of our like personal sentiment towards the platform, it's part of like the daily tool set. Like if you're like figuring out how do you get like a grasp of understanding what's going on in the crypto space,
Mm-hmm.
it's essential. It's
It really
absolutely
is.
fundamental, essential. If you're not on Twitter, you're not following like the right people who are like,
Doing stuff.
I would say, people potentially like us and
Yeah.
others,
Yeah.
right? You have a nice little list of like, 100 or 200 people that you're following, and that's who's propagated to your feed. The algorithm understands your interests as a result of that. Then yeah, you're getting like straight like into your bloodstream most of the latest developments, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know that we're more than just a YouTube channel? We also built Mscribe, the first inscription platform built from the ground up for the metaverse on Bitcoin. Connect your bitmap ordinals and use our tools to bring your community into the virtual realm. Support us by joining the movement at mscribe.io. Like, comment, and subscribe for the latest alpha. Back to the video. Okay. Yeah, so we just recorded a video talking about all the things happening on Bitcoin. Not just ordinals, it's atomicals, it's OpNet,
Yeah.
and SRC20 is apparently still happening.
Everything has a shot,
Yeah.
right? Even though like Benny, programmability is like the hotness now. Benny was for sure the first. There were other people, other teams lurking around like during these early days.
Right.
Advocate like the OpNet team themselves with like, back then it was Oshi. They were working on Boss. Remember Boss?
Mm-hmm.
Basically like OpNet is like a finished near version of like that. Remember that initial vision? We're like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. You guys,
Yeah.
they came out with this crazy like thesis paper, right? And it was very
So many marketing terms, dude.
yeah, that was kind of the issue. It was too, how people like to introduce new words, right? We've done it ourselves. We're guilty of that.
Block drops.
Block drops,
DMT?
block outs,
Yeah, blockout.
DMT, non-arbitrary tokens, unique non-arbitrary tokens.
UNATs. Yeah, that's right.
What else? I'm sure there's more,
Yeah.
right? Metaverse Enabled Tokenized Apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of like a word salad problem ourselves. It's like creating new words.
Right.
But yeah, that was like one of the main things. And when I remember reading that, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of new words in here.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, it was daunting, right? And
For sure.
maybe that's part of the problem is like we made too many new words. So people like insta-fade DMT. potentially, right? But
Well, that's what you kind of have to do that if you're creating new stuff. So
yeah, it's not like these words are meaningless, right? They actually have like function in the explanation and like the navigation of how things work within these ecosystems. So
right.
yeah, I mean they're essential, but unfortunately they become like barriers of entry for like newbies.
Yeah,
Right?
but I don't think that should be a cause for like resistance. There is a learning curve when you jump into crypto and you learn something
Yeah,
new.
that's true.
Everything
Yeah.
has a learning curve. Everything.
Yeah, like whenever I first got into Bitcoin in like 2013, 2014 or whatever, I was allured by the idea of these altcoins that were emerging, right? It's like, wow, dark
Yeah.
coin, fucking Fupa coin. I don't know if that was real, but you know what I mean?
It was probably real.
I'm sure it was.
I'm sure it was. But I wanted in, right? But as soon as I like peered in, I got bombarded with all these new words
Yeah.
and these new challenges. It's like, what's a web wallet? What do you mean I need to like
That's
download
right.
this extension and like, what do you mean? What's a secret key or private key and
Mhm.
secret phases or phrases?
Yeah.
And
What's
What do you-
hashing? What do you
yeah,
mean?
what do you mean
What's a
cold and hot
blockchain?
wallets? Yeah, all that shit, dude. What do you mean cryptography? Huh?
Yeah.
I was a biology major, so
Yeah.
computer science was off my radar completely.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't understand any of it, so I was like, what was my response? I gave up.
Yeah, that's right.
I faded.
That's the lesson that I think anybody in crypto learns pretty quickly.
To give up?
To not give up.
Oh,
I mean, these days you figure it all out and then you get in. It's like, all right, I'm finally on crypto Twitter. I got my wallet. Let's see what's out there. And you're like, some dude's like smoking crack.
Yeah.
He's trying to pump a meme coin and shit. And
Yeah.
it's like he's got like a stripper next to him. It's like, whoa, that was shocking. All right, let's see the next thing. Right?
The next thing is like these like ugly PFP projects.
Whatever it is, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get exposed to some ugly dark corners of crypto. But I was asking myself this question the other day: is like, are these good or bad signs? The fact that like these things are happening in the industry, it's like,
Well, we talk about how the sentiment for us is like there's nothing really inspiring happening in crypto like it
Yeah,
was
but-
in 2017, right?
but maybe not everything needs to be inspiring, right? If you like
not.
parallel Web3 and crypto to like the early days of the internet, obviously not every like web page that was like erected was this inspirational thing, right? The
No.
internet enabled a lot of like
Yeah,
ugly things too.
but we listened to Charles Hoskinson and Dan
Right, right, right.
Larimer and Vitalik,
Yeah.
and these guys were working on like important things.
No, I know. But my point is that was like an indication of actually being early to a thing, right? Like being early to the internet was probably like the only web pages being created were probably all like educational and like, productive stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't until like the degens entered the internet space and created like dark web
Mm.
and like weirdness
I
and like
see, I see.
these weird internet chat forums and stuff like that. Like that's when things started to pop, It's like it attracted real human beings to the internet, right? Even though like the early internet adopters like ourselves, we were like,
Wait. Are you sure it was the degens that really brought the people? Or,
I think so.
Or was it people like Jeff Bezos and like Mark Zuckerberg and people who created like useful platforms, at least for the time being? Right?
Well,
I don't know
yeah,
how
I mean,
useful
well-
Facebook is these days, but
I'm talking like even before all that though. That's like the early 2000s,
before that,
Yeah.
what was before that?
like the fucking chat rooms and shit with like weirdos and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I was thinking more like GeoCities.
Yeah, maybe even that. I don't know. The point is, like, are these people like pumping memes and like again like smoking crack, setting themselves on fire? This is like Web3's dark web, isn't it? Like this is our dark pocket of display
Right.
from like this innovation of cryptocurrency and whatnot, right? Just like
Right.
the internet, I'm sure, has its dark corners back in its early days. You wouldn't want to see those dark corners, right? You'd be shocked
Yeah.
at the things that people were putting on the internet in those days, right? But still, that didn't like completely like muddy the potential of the internet,
True.
right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to like reframe my perspective on like what's happening because
Yeah.
I see these things and it instinctually I want to like run away. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
this is bad news bears, right? Like we're not heading in the right direction, but maybe that's not true. Like maybe this is actually
Yeah,
a positive signal.
I totally feel that. I mean, every time I don't spend time, like there's like a stretch of time where I don't spend that time on Twitter, I feel a lot better.
Like healthier.
Yeah, I feel way healthier.
Right.
But then when I do, sometimes 1% of the things I look at on Twitter ends up being like useful and interesting. The other 99% is like, dude, what the hell? What kind of humanity am I a part of? Right. So, but I feel you.
You just said it though. Humanity. That's what you're witnessing is an actual true reflection of.
But we've talked about this before. It's not exactly a true reflection of humanity. I think it's an algorithmic representation of humanity. Like, for example, if you watch like one violent thing on Twitter, you keep scrolling, more violent things happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not right.
Is there a reflection that we're all like extremely violent?
No.
Right? So no, it's an algorithm. I think that's part of like
but it's a reflection that's the stuff that we want to see, I guess, cuz I think like everybody clicks on it, right?
True.
The algorithm's like, damn, this thing has like a dense like visitation
100%
profile. Yeah, humanity definitely does not have a history of being violent at all.
Yeah. Violent or abusive or like, just general douchebags, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the algorithm, it's like, damn, these guys love seeing this.
I guess there's two extremes, right? We have like the violent sector of Twitter, and then you see a cat meme.
I was gonna say,
and then that equally gets as much as attention because it's like cats, or why do we like cats, dude?
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird shit, right? Like you go from seeing like a drive-by to like just dudes getting capped,
that's right,
struggle like their last breaths,
right?
To like some grandma making, some gingerbread cookies. Like, it's like, damn, dude, that's quite the polarization of like human experience, right?
Yeah, we're talking about that as I'm running around as a nat cat in the metaverse.
Is that on camera or no?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But it's on there now.
Yeah, I mean, so expect the equal amount, if not more, like polar like experience in the metaverse, right?
Yeah,
that was the point.
Yeah, so basically, that is the progression of like a new technology, right? It's like you get the smart people in, they're like, yeah, this is going to change the world.
Yeah,
and then all the masses come in. And it's like, here I am on fire.
Yeah,
buy my token. Yeah,
or here I am. Whatever XYZ, right? And then so we're left here having to deal with like the existentialism of all of that, right? Because we're so deeply ingrained and embedded into all this, and we have, I don't know, like I think like genuine motivations to try as best as we can to do some good with this technology, right?
Right.
I feel like if you're a human on Earth, doing anything, you want your like all this work and effort you put into something to like produce some tangible good stuff, right? I feel like, I don't know. That's just my take. You might be different. Maybe you're not looking for that. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it really depends on like what your motivation is to be on the web, depending on what you're doing. But ultimately, like in crypto, man, there's all kinds of like weird stuff happening. And if you want an example of that, definitely watch our last 20-minute video.
Why? What happened there?
Well, just because it's an example of everything that's happening on Bitcoin.
Oh, or at least it's not like weird though. That's just like, it's just complicated and it's getting confusing. And, for a lot of people, again, so you're introducing complexities, new words, and, new fuel of turnoff.
Yeah.
So, but that presents opportunity again, because typically the people who aren't willing to push through all this like newness, you're going to miss out on something.
Yeah. The thing here is like, there's definitely a lot of newness for sure. Like, in the sense that people are creating stuff. But there's so much noise, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what I mean by noise is basically things that we've already seen before. They're to really fleece you, ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if that's any different than what we saw in 2017, right? In 2017, remember, there was a bunch of websites and white papers and, like, we're going to change the world. And that was pretty much it. Like, that was the mania of that era.
Well, it was the realization that we can issue currency, right, through this like these new standards on Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the ultimate experiment was like, what can we do with new currency, right? Oh, we can do X, Y, and Z, right? It was another experimental like stage of like Web3's development,
Right.
right? It just so happens so you can participate in this or not, yeah, and it had its own cycle. It came and it went, right?
Yeah.
But a result of that, some things actually were developed, and people actually enjoy some of the products of Web3, like DeFi, right? Everybody's clamoring, how are we going to get DeFi on Bitcoin, right? If we didn't have that ICO cycle of 2017, we wouldn't have gotten to a state where we could produce like real frameworks for decentralized financial applications, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, same with the metaverse, same with everything, dude. So I mean, people get disappointed and disillusioned and shit, and now they throw around like there's too much negative sentiment too often. But I mean, it's understandable at the same time because some people get like significantly burnt.
Yeah,
and it's more like a cautionary tale, right? They're just trying to help other people, at least they think, right? Like you don't want to experience what I experienced.
Yeah, I guess the point of I guess this conversation is to, I don't know, have like the conviction of the technology of cryptocurrency. Like there is obviously something here.
Mm-hmm.
It's still being figured out in large part, right? Obviously, we do agree that cryptocurrency as a money application makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have countries starting to adopt Bitcoin. We have our own government really considering it seriously.
Yeah.
Right. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Especially United States being the world leader in money.
Correct.
Right. So, having them adopt Bitcoin as part of their, campaign strategy, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we know that application makes sense. Now, the real question is, can you do other things with cryptocurrency? And so far, I guess the expectation is yes.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So there's definitely things you can do, but have we seen like any real stuff? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's not all that clear yet.
What's real stuff to you?
Like a real use case. Like a real like working use case.
I know, but what's the quantifiable threshold between like something being like, if I issue a token and now I have like this, like a metaverse, for example, maybe it's only like 1 million market cap or whatever, but does that like disqualify it for being a real use case? It's like, hey, my users, all 20 of us, we're here like engaging in economics in my little virtual environment, dude. It's not like a Bitcoin,
right?
But it still functions as like, as a medium of exchange for my 20 users.
Yeah.
Is that not like a legitimate thing?
Yeah, I guess that's really the point where we got to figure out, right? What is that stickiness? But I think ultimately when it comes to like if you compare anything to a Web 2 application, usually when those Web 2 applications have like hundreds of thousands to millions of users.
Yeah.
Like successful ones, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we're having like 1,000 users in a crypto application as like a measure of success. And we need to break that threshold. We need to get to like millions of holders, right, of an asset.
Yeah.
Right. That has like, I think, stickiness. And so that's why it, represents like Bitmap has that opportunity, right? 850,000 bitmaps. Like it has that potential to have that many holders. Or more. I mean, because we're talking about parcels here.
Yeah, almost 1 billion parcels, right? Roughly.
Yeah, that's right. 950 million.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we're talking like I guess you need like a few more epochs to like fully supply like humanity with its own potential. At least have a parcel per human, right?
Right.
But still, nonetheless, the whole point is building community, right? You might not need to actually own a parcel, right? You could still partake and be a part of like an ecosystem.
For sure, yeah. Just in the same way that a lot of us don't hold a bunch of land in real life.
A lot of us don't own websites, right? But we still spend all our time on the internet.
Exactly.
Because the internet has produced like such tremendous value. And the people who do own like the developer bandwidth, right? The web hosts of the internet.
Yeah.
They developed very useful applications and services for us to like consume.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we don't necessarily have ownership of the net, but we are for sure like
users, big time users.
Yeah, it enhances our lives in many different verticals, right? So
yeah,
the metaverse is gonna like it's the same like mission thesis is there, right?
Yeah.
But we present like this whole new layer of ownership that we never had as an opportunity, right?
Yeah, which, it presents not only the opportunity, but also additional complexities that you have to figure out how to create the incentive mechanism where everyone who holds these assets have like a stake in the game.
Well, we're talking metaverse now. Why aren't we showing it now? We might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in there. I've been running around.
Okay. All right. We showing? All right. We're showing.
Yeah.
All right. This is it, dude. So as we're talking about internet and metaverse parallels, right? Think of each of these individual parcels as this is an opportunity to create something of value for people.
Yeah.
Right? Like what is going to be the motivation for people to come to your land?
Right.
Is it going to be to like run around and jump around in just 3D space and like just to see a bunch of sculptures and such?
Yeah. This is an interesting conversation just because, there's a lot of technology that allows you to create 3D environments, just like the one that you're looking at. But that's already been tried, right? We've seen a lot of this stuff happen before, and we've seen, the effects of creating such environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the ultimate outcome is that it's not really a sticky experience, right? So our main thesis has always been that we need to create an economic layer that creates that incentive mechanism for everyone to partake, right? The user, the landowner, the developer, the creator of applications such as the one that you're looking at here,
Mm-hmm.
to be aligned in this ecosystem, right? In the same way that the physical world is aligned in an ecosystem where there is a cost to benefit analysis to every decision that you make.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Should I get my car washed today? Should I spend my last $8 on washing my car, or should I go get, some milk?
Yeah.
Right. So everything you have to like consider seriously. Right.
Correct.
And so the same thing probably needs to happen in the metaverse so that we can create an economic access point for every user on the internet.
Yeah.
Right. And so that has not been tested, right? In any metaverse, there is no alignment in such a way.
Correct.
So that's what we want to test here. And that's the whole point of like, contributing to the bitmap ecosystem, because we have our own thesis. We have our own like hypothesis on what we think is going to make a sticky environment. And this is the beginning.
Yeah. And that was our motivation. Oh shit. Sorry, I'm trying to play with you, dude, as I speak. Why'd you leave me?
Oh, I'm just running around.
God damn it, dude. Don't leave me.
All right. So this is kind of like a very early version of an application.
I fell.
Get wrecked, dude.
So yeah, this is a game in construction. But again, but our early motivations to why, as soon as we discovered Bitmap, before anything was built, right? It was literally a text inscription. Like there was just a set of rules.
Yeah.
Right? Here are the blocks of Bitcoin. There's this not even on-chain like art rendering scheme, right? It's bitfeed.live. Like this is just a website that somebody came in a generative model somebody came up with that just really looked really cool, right? So let's just all follow this layout, right? So we did. So we started inscribing some of these bitmaps as a text inscription. Is like, wow, now we all have like a cohesive understanding of like how this land can be generated non-arbitrarily based on like the transaction data per these blocks, right?
Yeah.
And then so this is something we never seen before in our years of metaverse development. And I think that another thing that interested us outside of just the cool factor of something that's been introduced that's new to the metaverse is the idea of like an open foundation, like the principles of that, meaning like there's no real like one way to do things, right? Typically when a metaverse is created, there's like a foundational entity, they have their own internal roadmap, and like that's it. That's going to be the way moving forward.
Yeah.
Like what's going to propagate? Is there going to be a builder tool in this metaverse environment? This team says yes. That's going to be the way you're going to proliferate content onto your metaverse environment, like using their stack, and only their stack, right? If you think there's something cool being built in someone else's metaverse stack, too bad.
Yeah,
that stuff is not compatible with what you own here in this metaverse scenario, right?
Yeah. So ultimately, what you're describing is someone had a thesis, and that thesis was executed, and that is an experiment that we can build upon and either use because it worked or not use because it didn't work.
Pretty much.
right? And
Yeah.
so when we say we have a thesis, we have one that hasn't been tested,
Correct.
and we need to execute on that because we feel like even if it doesn't work, it is at least an experiment that we can all take, either use again or not use again because it
Yeah.
didn't work, or maybe you can improve on it.
Yeah, but I'm more. Yeah, so that's for sure. So that's from our lens, our perspective, right? That's unique to us from our experience developing in the metaverse, whatever. So we get to bring in all of our understandings based on our experience and running into problems by developing in the past.
Yeah,
And not trying to replicate those problems and bring them here, right?
that's right.
But that's the point. Is like you have that opportunity with Bitmap, right? You typically don't have that opportunity on any other like metaverse stack, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty about Bitmap is that anybody can contribute in
Right.
whatever way they think they can contribute, and then just run that experiment and see what happens.
Correct.
And literally anything can happen because it's not held by any like single centralized like service provider. They're not coming up with their own thesis and testing their own thesis, and like that's the only thing that can happen here. Like it's completely different. It's completely open, and this is exactly what we expect from Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing as what we've talked about. Yeah, watch our last 20-minute video. We were outlining the complexities of you know, experimenting on Bitcoin and letting the invisible hand kind of dictate, you know, which of these methodologies are we going to adopt as like a developer ecosystem native to Bitcoin, right? Because there's like 10 different flavors of how to implement programmability native to Bitcoin, right? Or maybe Bitcoin isn't intended for that. So what we all should really be doing is adopting layer 2.
Yeah.
Right. So these are all different theses. These are different
right.
ideologies, different approaches to building on Bitcoin, right? So the metaverse is no different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's so many traps because a lot of these attempts, right? If you don't have an experience in the industry, you haven't seen these attempts before, even though that they have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of opportunity with these attempts. But if you don't know the history, you won't know which attempts haven't worked in the past before.
Yeah.
And you won't know whether or not an attempt has a new like spin on it that hasn't been tested before.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of potential pitfalls here that people with experience will be able to kind of like tell you. And that's why it's really important to follow the right people on Twitter and get, good intelligence on like new takes on things.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So this is just a reemphasization. Is that a word? Reemphasize.
We'll take it, dude.
To reemphasize some of the early core tenets we talked about when Bitmap was first propagating pre-blockout days, right? People were asking, hey, block runners, is like, how come Bitoshi hit you up, when there was like 100 or 200 total bitmaps inscribed? Like, what do you know about the metaverse that we don't, right?
Yeah.
Why did he think you guys had some sort of like influence to contribute here?
Yeah.
Well, it's because we spent a lot of years thinking about this shit.
Yeah.
A lot, like quite a bit. And I think Bitoshi knew that, right? He obviously like watched some of our programs over the years.
Yeah.
And he understands like, our motivations, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, some of those early core principles of these ideas of open metaverse development, right? Not locking ourselves within a singular idea or framework of how things need to be done.
Right.
Right. Which it can happen through like these like shadow forces, like people are just completely trying to obfuscate narratives and like, create negative sentiment in certain directions or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So that people kind of like think a certain way. Right. And as opposed to being open to all ideas. Right. And letting the experimentation kind of accrue naturally, and then letting that invisible hand process kind of like dictate
right.
which of these are actually the good ones.
Yeah. 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 That's the challenging part about all this. And if you go watch our 20-minute video that was released on Thursday, there's a project called FSIC, right, which is very similar to RSIC.
Yeah.
And it probably is the exact same team. They added a little new sauce to it, and it's now this FSIC thing happening on Fractal. But ultimately, it's almost the same thing. But if you haven't been exposed to RSIC, you wouldn't even know. You would think that FSIC is some sort of innovation, right? When it really is not.
No, I see.
And so a lot of that stuff you're going to run into in crypto, and it really takes a ton of experience and a ton of exposure to really catch like what is substance and what is not.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing is happening in the metaverse industry. Is like a lot of these takes are just like rehashes of previous attempts, and like we just know that those things are not going to work.
Mm.
So yeah, that's why we're here, running our own experiment platform for developers. That's what we think is going to make the metaverse make sense.
So go elaborate more into that. Like, why do you think this experiment, NATRIX specifically, like, putting together these tools for developers and then bringing together as much of a community as we can that's aligned in understanding like the developers kind of like need the proper grounds and infrastructure to really build out like important things, right? Well, why is that going to like change things? How is that going to like potentially get us closer to like, okay, yeah, this is going to work this time?
Well, we have a ton of parallels, right? So we talk about DMT, and we use DMT and we explain DMT with the parallels of the physical universe. We talk about the second law of thermodynamics. We talk about the energy input of all the miners creating Bitcoin, right? Mining Bitcoin. And that has a huge effect on the value of Bitcoin. That's why, countries are starting to talk about Bitcoin after 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have these parallels, right? So again, we have parallels on what we think is going to make sense for the metaverse through like existing projects. Like we have Roblox, we have YouTube, we have Twitter. And what is in common with all those projects I just listed? A user-generated ecosystem, right? That's why we're stuck on Twitter, because that is where the content is being unearthed, if you will, right? That is where alpha is happening.
Mm-hmm. So
we stick on Twitter. Why do we go on YouTube, right? Because that's where new content is being generated.
Yeah.
Right? Why are news channels losing to something like Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Because news actually breaks on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right? And so when it comes to like building in the metaverse, it's not going to come from one builder. It's not going to come from Meta or Google. It's going to come from all of you listening. Right? It's going to come from people creating content. So okay, now that we understand that it's going to come from like the masses, so what do the masses need to create that content? Tools, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What does every single developer, practically every developer, what tool do they know? JavaScript, HTML. What is being used to build on NATRIX and BitmapOS? HTML, JavaScript, right? So everything that we've seen on the internet, which is basically built by HTML and JavaScript and other libraries, can be done inside this BitmapOS environment, right? And so now we can have the complexities of the internet happening in this 3D environment, and we can bring in all the stickiness that we've seen in Web 2 come into this Web 3 environment in 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good starting point, I guess. But like, we still don't know what to build, though, right? Like, even though you're giving us all these tools and shit, and now, okay, you've created this nice platform where now we can actually visualize in 3D space the actual land distribution of a bitmap, right? Like, it's all here.
Yeah.
Like this is bitmap 716472, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look here at every single parcel, like at the very tippy top of one of the corners over here.
Yeah, let's go. I'll follow you, dude.
It's right there. I mean, this is the parcel number, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the parcel number.
So this is parcel 1,591 out of like roughly 4,000 or so parcels.
Yeah.
Per this bitmap. So this platform, this infrastructure, this is every single bitmap can do this, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so every single bitmap has like their own count of parcels, their own different sizes, and every bitmap is completely unique, which is part of the value proposition of bitmap. It's non-arbitrary, right? Mm-hmm. And so with this, you have this virtual land in square meters that you can build on, and you can create anything that you can create with the internet, basically HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah.
So you can get as complex as you can, as we've seen like any website get complex.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking about, anywhere from like a place where you can stake tokens using Ethereum smart contracts to prediction markets in 3D. Like you can do everything that we've seen.
See, that's interesting. like just outlining those functions that are like well known. These are the words that are like very established, right? They're not really like deterrents anymore. Staking,
Yeah.
locking, yielding, like all this is the stuff that Web3 degens and participants like are persistently pursuing and like seeking, right? Like new opportunities of that. Do you think like let's just deploy most of these like Web3 functionalities and like protocols that generate
yield,
the financialization? Remember when we talked to Jack Liu and he was like
Yeah.
enthusiastic about Bitmap? He's like, the thing Bitmap really needs to be working on is like, how do we like incorporate the financialization of things within these bitmaps?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what he was more so saying is like, how do we get DeFi in there? Right.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it. Like, do you think now that it's like part of this metaverse, like all of a sudden we've introduced like something of value?
Yeah.
New value, I guess I should say.
Yeah. I mean, talking about DeFi and bitmaps is interesting because Bitmap has such a large supply that you can almost make Bitmap almost like a DeFi asset.
Well, that's what Jeff is doing, right? That's why he asked everybody to migrate their bitmaps to his layer too.
Yeah.
Right? So
which is why they still have like 200,000 bitmaps.
Yeah, like a significant portion of the supply.
That's a quarter, dude.
It's a very significant portion of the supply, like locked into his like protocol state, right? Which is it's an EVM chain.
Right.
So yeah, you could build smart contracts and you can execute on exactly what Jack Liu was saying, right? Like let's use the bitmap as the yield generating device.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By itself. Like you don't
Just
even build a 3D environment or anything like that.
Right.
So you could do that. And I don't know how successful that's going to be, but I think it's an experiment that needs to be taken. Right. Because you can't really know what can transpire for something like that because it's never been tested.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a worthy attempt, a worthy experiment, but you have to consider the risks, right? You are sending your bitmap to another address that you do not control, by the way. And so there's all kinds of risks. But from our take, like on our the Metaverse take is like it has to be a 3D environment where anyone with an internet connection can access this new country, right? And this new country has new opportunities. And those opportunities can be built by developers who know HTML and JavaScript. And so that is the application layer that we think is going to bring $1 trillion metaverse.
Yeah, I think the reason why that's going to work in the long run, like at least prove a more sustainable model, right, is because it's native to the metaverse, meaning like you can't achieve like a value production system outside of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you could do what Jeff wants to do, like, here's these inscriptions, they're bitmaps. And here are these like locking protocols where you lock them up. They have value to them. Therefore, if you lock them up for X, Y period of time or whatever, that represents like a larger stake in some sort of protocol governance tool to like, distribute a token based on some sort of like predetermined smart contracts logic.
Yeah.
Like, why not do that, right? Let's run that experiment. Let's issue those tokens. People are now minting these things just by locking things up.
Yes.
Right. But it's no different than like, taking your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or some other like crypto asset and just interacting with any other like DeFi protocol.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Aave or Unis,
Exactly.
Whatever, dude. Like we've already kind of done that, but just because like the metaverse has like an association to the NFT asset itself, it's like somehow we've done something different, right?
Yeah.
I think the market can like interpret that initially. It's like, dude, this is new.
Yeah.
Right? We've never seen like a metaverse asset,
financial asset.
Yeah, leverage as like a DeFi primitive, right? Let's call it MeFi, Metaverse Fi.
Yeah.
Right? I could see that work for a period of time, right? It's going to be another one of these like unsustainable things, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay, like you're saying, it's a data point.
Are you telling me that walk to earn wasn't sustainable, dude?
I mean, it was a starting point, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. You could engage to earn is not a failed thesis. It's an incomplete one. Is the problem,
dude? That's well said.
Yeah, it's that's the issue. It's like because things fail, you don't just give up on them, right? Like DAOs, governance.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah,
you know what else we do in engage to earn? Let's go to work, dude.
That's true.
You go to work. That's engage to earn.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. Time equals money, right? That's a fundamental core principle of our existence, and like it fuels our economy.
Yeah.
It gives all of us sensible purpose as like individuals, right? We're part of a system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if you think about it, if walk to earn didn't work in Web 3, it's likely because it didn't work in Web 2, right? There was no way anybody was going to pay you to walk.
Mm.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it wasn't going to work in Web 3 either.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it's an incomplete sort of ecosystem.
Right.
Right. So the metaverse is the physical reality that needs to be made into a complex ecosystem in the same way that physical reality is complex.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, it's a lot of words. So yeah, we could kind of like pause here for a second and like think about like all what you just said. You know, you're comparing what we're doing here. We're running around in this virtual environment. You're comparing this to our actual reality. Like here we are.
Yeah.
You know, it costs a lot of money to do what we're doing, right? Like
Yeah.
to build this studio.
For sure.
For us to be able to maintain this and sustain this activity on a daily basis, right? There's a lot of complexity that went into that, right? We're not just, you know, there's got to be a sustainable way to do these things, right?
100%, dude.
So yeah, the metaverse.
Yeah, you cannot build the metaverse and make everything for free forever. You will run out of food if you do that.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. There's no pillar to stand on, right?
Yeah.
It's a very complex chain of occurrences that gets to an actual and a favorable outcome for participants in a system, right? That's what economics are for.
Yeah.
To figure out what are these individual components, like a system, an organization of beings. What do they need to be doing in order to like produce tangible value so that this whole thing doesn't come toppling down?
Yeah, 100%. Right? Yeah, this is what the Federal Reserve is tasked to doing. It's extremely complex, and that's why they have levers, and that's why they affect the entire global market when those levers are pushed.
Yeah, so that's an extension of like that. So there's ways to do like natural, much more organic ways of creating sustainable open markets, free markets.
Yeah, let banks collapse. Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let these things occur.
Yeah. Right.
It's okay to have like readjustment periods. Well, it might not feel okay. A lot of people are going to suffer as a result, but you know, keeping things propped up artificially for like this inevitable major collapse.
Yeah. You're just making things way worse.
Yeah. It might not seem like obvious today, but you know, I think some people are becoming wise to that.
Yeah.
I think countries in particular, right? There's a reason why a lot of countries are losing faith in like the dollar's like position.
Yeah, de-dollarization.
Like, yeah, it's an actual thing happening, right? Mm-hmm. Because
Japan is moving off, Iran is moving off.
Yeah.
I mean, and then people are suddenly getting interested in bunkers. I've seen a number of YouTubers build bunkers, dude.
YouTubers.
I mean, God damn it, dude. I mean, we're not one of those guys, but
I mean, not yet. I want a bunker, dude.
Second channel coming soon.
I know, dude. We need to increase our YouTube hustle, dude. What the fuck? Why don't we have bunkers, dude? Fuck.
Yeah. Well, these are like really successful YouTubers, by the way. So it's not an easy task.
That's definitely not us, then.
No, definitely not.
Well, whatever, dude. You guys can enjoy your bunker time. I'll just, I guess, escape away into this like metaverse realm.
Yeah, right? There's quite the range of bunkers, dude. There's just like a giant tube. Like, it's just a giant tube, and then there's like real bunkers where it's like, it's made out of metal and all kinds of like weird shit.
Basically, like an underground layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. There was a period of time where like I was doing my own investigation, right?
It's very expensive.
Fuck yeah. I saw one. It's basically like a shipping container size. Maybe like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah.
Buried underground. I think that was like $200,000 just for that. Yeah. And I have a shipping container that I bought before in the past. For like $20,000-$30,000, so like.
But you gotta reinforce that up.
I know,
like crazy.
Correct. Yeah, man.
I've seen I-Man out there digging the hole for the last few days.
It's like TJ, I'm telling you, the end is near.
Soon.
I'm like that dude on Breaking Bad. He's just like high on meth without the meth, but I'm just digging like nonstop because I think I'm gonna get to China at some point. But no, dude. I mean, if I had the means, I definitely would partake in this like YouTube phenomenon.
I mean, it's a pretty reasonable thing to do. It's just like the real question is like, what's the likelihood where you're actually going to need the bunker?
Well, I mean, so we started out just talking about complexity requirements for figuring out a sustainable economic pathway, and we traversed into confronting our own reality of how we've taken an alternate route in our physical world to like, you know,
I mean, dude, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that, you know, having a bunker makes a lot of sense. Like the probability of needing a bunker has only increased,
Yeah, pretty much.
right? And so we have like AI and we have all these like automation things and all the things that really encourage, like, you need to have some self-sustainment.
Yeah.
Right. In effect, because if you rely on anything else, you're in trouble.
Right.
Right. And so a bunker is like one of those things.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of like theory craft here then. Like what can we do again with these developer tools and this established framework of bitmap deployment here, right? And bitmap land activation and distribution, all that stuff. Like this is part of the technology profile that we're offering here, right?
Yeah.
Through mscribe, through BitmapOS, all connected to the DMT framework and stuff. So there's a lot of pillars here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that like contribute to, I guess, like, the foundation state of how we can execute on at least beginning to get ourselves potentially towards that path, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about this particular bitmap has 4,000 parcels. There's going to be a land distribution event. It's going to be a PvP experience in kind of like what you've experienced in the past on mscribe. So it's going to be no different. The only difference is it's going to look like a bitmap instead of just like straight squares.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's going to be different land size variations. So we might be able to kind of rehash that. So we're looking at what is this? A 1, 2, 3, 4x4. So we're building on a 4x4 here.
I think this is a 3x3.
Is it? No, I think it's 1.
It's a 3x3.
2. No, I think it's a 4x4, dude.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. So each parcel is going to have like its own square meters, and then you'll be able to acquire one of these things, and then you'll be given a set of tools to actually build. And the tools is like a very sexy way of saying use HTML and JavaScript to build stuff.
Right. It's just like it's a coding tool.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a builder tool.
No.
So
no builder content.
Explain why this, these environments aren't coming out the box with a builder tool.
Because builder tools create just 3D statues and 3D stuff that that don't encourage any stickiness, right? It's like you come to this place, it's like, oh, I see that you put like a couch and like things. And it's like there's no reason to come back.
Yeah.
We want applications, right? We want reasons to come back.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we taken this route, right? And this is just us. Anybody out there, again, can build metaverse environments that for the builder audience, right? I'm not interested in being part of like a robust network of like apps. I just want to simply, have like some sort of digital representation of who I am, right? So let me use my bitmap.
Yeah.
Let me concoct this like collage of 3D objects that represents me.
Yeah, like a static website. You could do
basically.
that.
Yeah, it's like it's like a bio page, like we used to do all the way, like, again, early days of the internet, right?
Yeah, GeoCities.
Exactly. That's what that is. That's what the result of that would be. So, and from our perspective and our experience, that's largely what the state of the metaverse is, like, enables you to do that, right? And to us, it's not satisfactory.
No.
Based on an understanding of like where the value of the internet is and where the value of the metaverse will come from, that can't be like the technology framework we give to you guys, right?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We need to offer something different, and that's what this is. And you know what? We might be wrong. Maybe the metaverse is largely going to be a bunch of static things, and like that's going to have like $1 trillion ecosystem. Maybe that happens.
Okay.
But I give that a probability of near zero.
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense for us to kind of like contribute towards that direction, right?
Yeah.
That's not us.
No.
Yeah, our direction has always been developers first, of course, creators, always supporting creators, giving them the tools they need to produce the highest grade content, the most functional stuff, things that are going to be things that your typical landowner could never build on their own.
Right.
Right. Me, I'm going to own some of these parcels. I'm going to buy some of these things. Right. Am I a developer? Fuck no.
No. Not that I know of, dude.
Yeah. Have I ever helped you push a single line of code?
Negative.
That's what I thought. I am that useless when it comes to like my individual skill set. Like I just don't code, bro.
Yeah.
Not one of those guys. But I still want to own land. I got money.
You're still useful, man.
Yeah, I could partake, right? I still have a role within this ecosystem, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to host some of this stuff that these developers create, right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point here is to showcase like what development and what developers can create.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have like the canvas of the internet, which is HTML and JavaScript, we can create really robust things. Like that's why the trillion-dollar internet exists, is because developers have created robust things with these like frameworks.
Yeah.
And so we can do that in the metaverse, and we can do that on Bitmap, right? And so that is like the set structure that we want to provide here, and we want to encourage that ecosystem.
Yeah. So that's a little bit like basically our design philosophy. And again, it's rooted in our experience and understanding. You know, we had to struggle in a lot of cases, like, you know, really depending on like external forces to kind of like introduce core things that are needed in order to like, again, head us towards that direction that we think is more optimized to producing value.
Yeah.
You know, because these external forces, you know, unfortunately went the other way. It's like, you know what, we need to cater to, you know, the common landowner who doesn't know how to push code, right?
Wrong.
Yeah, and then the result of that is an unsustainable environment where you're not attracting developers, you're not attracting good app builders. Therefore, you've got you got no probability of like actually engaging a user and retaining their interest. Right?
Yeah, and you're not only not attracting them, but you're not even giving a platform for any of them to even do anything with.
Yeah.
Right. So if you come up to the roof here, so what are the core tenets to like having a metaverse environment that would seem to be sustainable, right? And the core tenets is like identity, right? And so there's going to be an avatar framework that allows every single unique user to have a unique avatar. It's gonna be called a UAV, a unique avatar.
Yeah.
Right. And it's gonna be a DMT asset, and creators will be able to build things like a NatCat. So if I kind of zoom out, it's like we have our unique. These are the real NatCats that we own, right? These are it, and they're completely unique, and they're put together via a script, right? And so this is going to be a fundamental core technology that's going to be a part of this stack.
Should I demonstrate another UAV that?
I don't know. I don't know if we want to like
just to kind of like show some dynamic ability, right, within this framework.
All right.
Should I do it? What do you think?
I don't know, dude.
Oh, dude, why not, dude?
I don't know,
on,
dude.
Man. Dude, just one time. Just let me do it for like a second. I'm gonna run away.
All right, you
no
do
one's
it.
Gonna see it, dude.
Do it and then just drop off.
Okay.
And then switch back.
All right, here we go. Just real quick. Are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
Okay, I'm just. Oh God, I'm scared. All right, ready, set,
and.
whoop. Oh, that's not even it.
That's not it, dude.
It's just another NatCat. Hold on. I gotta find this thing, dude. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
You're gonna cycle through a bunch of them.
That was definitely maybe.
That's a cool
guy.
NatCat, though.
It is a cool NatCat. All right, 1 second. All right, ready?
All right, here we
go.
Oh,
that's not it either.
Not
but
it. Not it.
Hold on,
close
you can't
enough.
see that. Don't look at that, dude. Oh, there's one more attempt.
That looked monstrous, dude.
Yeah, what was that, dude? That was creepy.
Whoa.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to.
Well, find it and then jump up and then jump off.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll have some time. But ultimately, the whole idea is that, you know, in the physical environment, we're bestowed with this unique identity called DNA, right? We all generally look different unless you're in a twin.
Yeah.
Which that's like a glitch in the Matrix, right? If I ever saw one.
What, everybody like looking this like literally?
No, a twin. Like the fact that twins exist.
Yeah, but they're not like truly identical, right? Even twins, even identical twins, there's still like some uniqueness to them, isn't there?
I don't know.
There is.
TJ, you want to Google that, dude?
There is, but it's like
it's very hard to
undetectable. The good ones. Anyways.
I remember seeing like one of those like crime shows where like a twin kills somebody and they couldn't determine which twin actually did the killing, and both got free.
Wow, that's pretty fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. Like their DNA
loophole.
was like identical.
Yeah.
Can you determine if
So the first Google search that I've shown up, so in-depth research says, research suggests that identical twins may not have exactly the same DNA.
Of course not. So,
you said may not?
but they don't. There's no way. It's absolutely
Are you
impossible.
sure?
Each twin's DNA sequence changes slightly over time after birth.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole like nature and nurture thing, right? There's like environmental impacts on.
So
like,
so
your
if
DNA
one twin
structure.
works out, they're gonna have like a slightly different DNA.
Probably, potentially. All right, hold on, dude. I'm about to do the.
Oh, okay. Oh shit.
Oh
There
no,
it
dude!
is.
Don't look at me. So ugly. All right, I'm coming, dude.
All right.
I'm just gonna
where
do
you
like
at?
a run by, real quick. See ya.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. That was cool.
That was cool, wasn't it?
So now we have like, we're not all gonna look like human bodies.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me.
no.
Okay. Good.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a dynamic. It's a creator tool, right? I mean, we know creators don't want to be pigeonholed to a single like model.
Yeah. You
I think-
identify as like a crab, right? Or a
Oh,
shrimp?
like when I play Roblox.
Yeah.
In Decentraland, I was a shrimp. In Roblox, I'm a crab. I don't know why. I enjoy the form of crustacean for whatever
Okay.
reason in the metaverse. So my avatar system better allow me to do things like this, right?
Yeah. It has to.
It has to. It has to be flexible and dynamic because, like you're saying, identity.
It's fluid.
It's fluid, and it's like it's so broad in range and interpretation, right?
Well, not only that, we just talked about how DNA changes, right?
Yeah.
With time.
That too. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Like that's why our particular framework is so interesting because everything will be truly unique.
Yeah.
Just like it is in the real world, everyone is truly unique. There's no digital or physical copy of each other,
Yeah.
right? Nature that's part of our natural programming of things.
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So again,
I'm gonna take your word for it since you're a biology major, dude.
that's right. Respect the major, dude. So it's like, I mean, maybe like in the nematode world or something, there's some organisms out there that are probably truly identical, but
Right.
we're talking humanoids here, human beings at least, right? That's our realm.
Sure.
Human to human, it's like we form identity based on how we look and how we dress and all this stuff, right? So there's never like another you
Right.
anywhere. There's never another me, right? So it's like,
even if there's a doppelganger, it's
Yeah.
still different.
so our whole another part of our core thesis is like bringing as much physical like expectation into our metaverse reality, right? That's part of why we did DMT in the first place, right?
That's right.
If we're gonna have a digital commodities like component as part of our economy, there needs to be a non-arbitrary means and mechanisms of actually like extracting this value from these metaverse environments, right? It can't just be like some developer just arbitrarily puts in like a supply of some good,
Mm-hmm.
some virtual commodity, and it's like it doesn't pair with our expectations in the real world, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's some sort of tangible tie to physics.
Yeah.
That is what quantifies like the actual scarcity and the presence and the existence of these things.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're able to derive value from that, right? So
Yeah.
that's a parallel between our physics reality and what's going to be this DMT based metaverse reality, right? So identity is kind of a similar expectation, dude. If I'm running around, there's like 1,000 copies of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've lost my identity, my
100%.
purpose, right?
Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
think that is a fundamental need of the metaverse.
And expectation, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that to actually quantify how difficult that is to achieve based on like current means of technology, right? Like it's unfeasible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to, I don't know, like describe this system. We're not there yet, right? We still need to tweak some things, and then we're gonna come out in full force once it's like fully ready, and it's part of like the offering of this, our technology stacks and frameworks, right?
Yeah, and that's part of why we want to start this community, start this like actual application layer where we can have a bunch of devs start building and start tinkering, so that we can size this technology for every single bitmap, right? NATRIX is not going to be the only bitmap with this functionality. That would be silly. That would be
really dumb.
a waste of energy.
Yeah,
right. This is more like an experiment to figure out like the scale and scope of this technology, and then figure out how to bring this to every single bitmap in a sustainable way.
Correct.
Because by the way, to host this stuff, it costs money. right? This is running on a server, right? And that server is providing us a service where you and I can actually join and be in the same room together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we want everybody to be in the same room, but we need.
Oh, don't look at me, dude. Don't look at me.
Oh.
Cut it off.
I'm ugly, dude. I'm ugly. Stop.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh,
I don't know.
well, anyway. So with this technology that can create unique avatars, you can create unique applications.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this home that you're looking at can be part of the same framework.
Yeah.
And then when you mint this asset, you're going to get a unique house. Like you can actually do that. And every house in this metaverse is going to be completely unique.
Yeah, and you could deploy this through the DMT framework as well.
So it's like, well, William, couldn't you do this in like today's metaverse? I was like, yeah, you could actually. You absolutely could. You just build this GLB once, build it a second time in a different way, build it a third time a different way, and then you spend all this time and all these hours of like creating this asset individually, one at a time, and then you can sell each one. Yes, you can absolutely do that. But that is not scalable or sustainable, right? If you were to do a metaverse asset and you would do that, 850,000 times for a block, like all the blocks on Bitcoin, it would cost you like $85 million to create each individual avatar, right? In today's like standards.
Right.
Obviously, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
But you can do that with DMT, right? You can do that.
Correct.
Right. And it's not going to cost you $85 million. It might cost you a few $1,000s of 3D development and then write a script to bring everything together.
Correct.
Right. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. So that's what's part of what's in development, along with many other things. Right. So we need frameworks for avatars. We need frameworks for metas. We need frameworks for the bitmaps themselves, like you're saying, to make them sustainable, like hosting grounds for all this complexity, right? Because all that has a cost.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's like economic considerations here, like again, like to achieve sustainability.
Yeah.
Right? From like a whole spectrum of like how the ecosystem starts and like proliferates, right? It's massive in scale, right? And then at the end of all of this, how do we govern all this stuff? Right?
Oh yeah.
If we're gonna get to like,
I knew you were going there. I knew it.
I always got to go there, dude. That's where I go.
That's true. You need, for something like a bitmap, you do need like a real DAO. I saw that, dude. You need a real DAO, but to do that is very complicated.
Sorry, I'm having too much fun in here, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right.
It's extremely complicated because you need to tie that DAO to like the real asset and like.
Yeah, and people need to manage their expectations of decentralization. Like it's such a bad take where people think things need to start out decentralized. It's just, it doesn't work that way.
No, absolutely not.
It never works out that way. If
Bitcoin didn't work that way.
Exactly. Yeah. So the plane needs to be built, and there needs to be like some sense of direction, right? Somebody needs to execute on something like
not only
sensible.
direction, but the plane has to fly.
Right. It's got to work.
It's got to work.
And that's going to be the purpose of the NATRIX community, right? It's like, so we're all building
the plane.
Yeah. Like, so we're putting a direction together. This is our thesis, our interpretation of like, where's the value going to come from? What needs to be, supplied from like a developer perspective, blah, blah, blah. Right. But the collective community of everybody who partakes in this is like building that plane. As together, right? The same way, like, ancient Egyptians worked together to build those fucking pyramids, dude.
They sure did.
It wasn't like a one-man show. It was there's like, we're not gonna enslave everybody. That's the difference. That's the difference.
We're gonna align everybody to
want to build these pyramids.
To head to the same direction.
It's not a pyramid just to glorify one man. It's a pyramid to like
glorify humanity.
Dude, whatever the fuck, dude. Just to get the damn show started, right? Finally. Like, let's get this show on the road, right? This
and the beauty about Bitmap is that anybody can build their own image of the Bitmap, right? You can do anything you want. If you disagree that applications are lame, you go and do your own thing on Bitmap. You could do that. That's great. Let it run, dude. Let it fly.
Exactly. And that's why we liked Bitmaps initially, because we knew there was going to be a lot of like, it's going to foster like a competitive environment for developers who have different interpretations. And that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Because that's going to actually get us like further progress to like, crossing off different data points, things that did and didn't work, right? And get us to like, a sensible final destination point for
Yeah.
all this stuff, right?
Yeah. So that's us. That's the NATRIX land distribution event coming soon.
One last time.
One last time, little peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
Oh,
That was good.
I saw that.
You gotta do it on the other side. Your camera's covering that one.
Oh yeah.
Whose camera?
You gotta
Just try it again.
come to the right side.
Oh, shizzle.
Nope.
Ah,
that was a long time, dude.
That was a long.
That was long. Well, did I just see a block run by, dude?
You did see a block run by. You sure did. Well, dude, you gave it too much detail now. Too much context.
Well, people are gonna freeze frame that and like,
Yeah, I know. I knew
it's
that.
like, did I see a UFO? It's gonna be one of those UFO things, dude.
It's pretty hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So LD happening. This is gonna create probably the most interesting community, I think, of like creators and developers and like tinkerers.
Yeah. And it's all happening on Bitcoin, right? Which, and yeah.
Couldn't be a better place, dude.
Yeah, and by the way, Track is indexing bitmaps.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
In case you guys didn't know. In case there's people out there trying to convince that Track has no part in this like equation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incorrect people, dude.
Yeah, like readjust your knowledge base, your expectations,
That's true.
your ideologies, your philosophies, whatever, dude.
Block
Like,
drops are happening on Bitmap.
yeah,
They're happening on UNets,
correct.
right? We have indexing of bitmaps.
Yep.
Through Track.
And without that,
Yeah, without that, we wouldn't be able to create any functional things.
yeah, exactly. And if you don't understand how that works, then you're not paying attention to how this Bitcoin ecosystem is developing. You're
Yeah.
simply not, right? I mean, and that's fine. You could
Yeah.
ignore the reality of like how things are manifesting,
Yeah.
but we're not going to do that. We're going to use the technology in its like most optimal modern state, right? To produce the best outcome for the metaverse
Yeah.
on Bitcoin.
We got to give ourselves the best chance, dude, for the metaverse.
Not just for us, for the devs, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm
To
saying.
build some cool shit.
We're part of the dev community.
Not me. I can't code. I simply buy land and run with blocks. That's what I do.
All right, guys, that's it for us. If you have any questions about the metaverse, about BitmapOS, about UAVs, unique avatars, you're looking to create in this environment, definitely send us a message on Twitter, on Discord, wherever you can find us. We're out there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's it for us. Appreciate you for watching. We'll catch you in this podcast.
Peace.